I know he can feel me, sense me saying this, and is rolling his eyes right now. Like, it's just a reaction that he has in response to me voicing my opinion about this. Let's talk about fall practice. It is here, Austin. We are talking not just about media days. We are not talking just about recruiting. We are not talking just about talking, but we're actually getting clips, getting reactions, impressions from those media members that are able to attend the fall practice sessions, those that are allowed, and we can actually glean some things from what's happening out there. So first week of fall camp, basically in the books at this point. I want to give you the floor, sir, to tell me your initial thoughts, and then we'll kind of set the table and hit some major topics.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, it looked like first week was kind of running into the basics, just not full pads quite yet, wearing some blue pants. Let's all calm down.
We'll talk about that.
But, just getting the basics of things, getting ready for the season. There's been a summer, there's been a spring of where you should know the playbook. You should know, what's expected of you when we get to this time. Now it's ironing out the details, dealing with some of those competitions in camp and seeing who's earned the opportunity to start. I think one of the biggest topics we're going to have to hit is it doesn't sound like Jarquez Hunter was available this week at practice. Who knows when he will become available, if he will become available. But, that I think when you read into, and we're always big, Kyle, about reading and listening of the head coach's press conference, there's confidence in that running back room, in the leadership of it, and in the talent. So in Damari Alston, Brian Batty, not sure.
Body.
And so
I believe it's Body.
Body, thank you. Well, look, we're strike 3, you're out. And so I think that there's plenty to go around and look at. Looks like maybe this week we'll start to whittle some of those competitions down and see where we stand. But yeah, I mean, pretty typical
right
from the start, I think.
I think the big things you kind of hit and laid out there for the first week of fall camp is we were all waiting to see confirmation of Jarquez Hunter. Was he going to be there? Was he not? We know the answer to that now. We'll talk about it in a second. The blue pants, a bit of a stir that caused amongst other apparel news this week. Yeah. And then obviously, the quarterback race, even though you can't really take a lot away from that at this point, at least that's just the major focal point right now. But I also want to say that I think it's a good report that it seemed Coach Freeze in his opening press conference indicated that we're healthy across the board, minus some typical nagging little things here or there. That's a good report to start fall camp. We'll see how it looks when we get done. Feels like there's always a major, I'm knocking on wood right now, folks, a major injury that kind of, sours fall camp a little bit. So hopefully that's not the case, and I didn't just jinx us. You can all at me if I ruin things for us. Let's talk about Jarquez Hunter. Obviously, it is the big thing on the table. We were all waiting for confirmation of what was happening. I had it in my mind convinced myself that he was going to be out there practicing, and that whatever alleged things had happened requiring alleged punishments would have taken place once the season started. That doesn't seem to be the case. And we don't even know the reason technically. There has been nothing said what's going on. He is just not here on the team. Coach Hugh Freeze said that he will not discuss matters that are internal about team rules and things like that. So that's basically the confirmation you need that is in relation to that incident. Were you shocked that he was not out there?
A little bit. Yeah, I was. I thought that, sounded like when everything went down, he was away from the team for a while. There was all plenty of indefinite suspension talk among the team. And I thought that maybe that had run its course now that we got to fall camp, and maybe once the start of the season would be the time to finish out the punishment and everything would be good to go from there. So not sure how much longer this will take. I don't think it's anything abnormal or non-status quo for Coach Freeze to be saying we're not going to discuss these public. You see that all the time, that all these things are going to be handled internally and not until everything's final. We don't hear anything publicly. So a little shocked, but not surprised at how it's playing out at the moment.
Yeah, I was shocked that he was not out there, but I would rather whatever needs to take place to address the situation start now. And that, I think, brings more hope that there will be less of an issue when the season starts. And I'm not saying that he's going to come out there and play in game one, but, it is nice to see, not nice. It's a difficult way to kind of word around this, make a word salad out of this, because you want, if there was something wrong done, you want it to be addressed. You want there to be, a response to that. But at the same time, you're also hoping for the best for Jarquez, that whatever happened, it'll be addressed. He's learned whatever needs to be learned from it and can move forward. And so I think that's what we need to be hoping for at this point. From all intents and purposes, we expect him to be part of the team. He's on the roster as of I checked today. Yep. So read whatever you want into the situation. We'll see if he ends up at practice before fall camps ends. And we'll just try to update as that comes along. So that's really the big update there. Let's talk about those blue pants, though. It was quite a stir. The fact that the official Auburn football account had to say, folks, these are just for practice. I think that says something to the response that they stirred up. Did you like the look? Would you want that to be out there on the field?
Kyle, I've never been super behind blue pants. I just don't think that I've never thought it would look really good with the way Auburn is constructed currently. Like, I think it would have to be, if you include blue pants, a pretty big overhaul. I didn't hate them. I really did not hate them when you look at the white helmet with the all blue kind of look. Obviously they're a little shorter, right? They're more like, they're not as short as
those other ones though from the past. Before. Yeah.
Let's I was going to say, let's not forget, but let's forget those days. But they're not as long as football pants, like game pants, but I did not hate the look. I thought it looked really good with the stripe, the Northwestern stripe, Clint Richardson. Yes, I'm aware. And so I think it looked good. I was pleasantly surprised. What was your take on it?
It's fine. I'm a purist. Clint knows this about me. Every time he hears me open my mouth about this stuff, he rolls his eyes. He's probably not even listening or watching right now. I won't even see this, but I know he can feel me, sense me saying this, and is rolling his eyes right now. Like, it's just a reaction that he has in response to me voicing my opinion about this. I am not one of these people that hates on change. I'm open to it if it's done right. I think the white face masks were a brilliant addition last year. But here's the reality, folks. It's just for practice. That's all it is. Correct. Have fun with it online. It doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things in this season, but it was an interesting thing to have show up on day one of fall practice. More on things that are important. The big story, even outside of Jarquez and blue pants, is the quarterback race. Coach Hugh Freeze did mention in his press conference, I think I'm mixing the timeline up a little bit, but essentially said, what I took away to be a third of the practices, he would like to have it whittled down to 2 quarterbacks, obviously meaning Robbie Ashford, Holden Geriner, and then Peyton Thorne in that competition, whittled down to 2 of them, and then going from there, obviously at that point, moving towards an actual starter, which he did say he said we will have a starter, but he didn't necessarily say that he would name a starter. So do with that what you will. This is talking season. How do you kind of wrap up and take all the information that we gathered from that very little that we can gather from the quarterback race so far?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is what you just hinted at there, him saying that we'll have a starter. And I think his words were, we might not have a bona fide starter, which means a concrete, set in stone guy we're rolling with the rest of the way. And I think that's important. You can only know so much from fall camp, right? When we get out there against UMass, another team, maybe lesser talent level, but another team, a game that matters, competition of someone that doesn't know what you're going to do, things can be different. And so I think that where we're at right now, they're probably trending toward, obviously we're all expecting it to come down between Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford. But Holden Geriner, it sounds like, has made it interesting and has been able to at least say, don't count me out of this just because I'm young and inexperienced. Obviously the social media team is fantastic. Their job is not to give you a slight one way or the other, but have posted some pretty good balls from Holden Geriner, being able on some deep shots, as well as some just smart mechanics that it looks like. So I think it's going to be a tough decision for the staff. I'm excited to see where they go with it. And, I'm not sure what direction it could go right now. Obviously, when you bring in a veteran starter like Peyton Thorne, everyone's expecting him to be the guy. Why else would you bring him in? But I think Robbie Ashford and Holden Geriner are making sure that they're in this competition all the way to the end.
And I think that's the biggest thing to take away here is you should feel good about the quarterback situation. Am I saying we have a Cam Newton and a Tim Tebow situation right now? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you've got very good skill sets. You've got a guy with a lot of experience in Peyton Thorne. You've got a guy like Robbie Ashford with the athleticism that is just next to none. That incomparable, well, maybe that's a little early to say, but very, very good athleticism and developing as a passer. And then Holden Geriner, who kind of seems to be this young up and coming talent that may have a little bit of everything there too. So Auburn fans should feel good about the quarterback battle. We will watch and see if we get any extra updates by the time we do another episode. We just wanted to get out some initial thoughts there about week 1 for fall football camp, and we'll be talking about it much more in the coming weeks.